It is spooky season, folks, so I think we need to check out more horror films. Yeah, I think we can all agree there. So let's review the new film, The Visitor. What's going on, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to review the new film The Visitor, which is going to be available on demand and digital October 7th and available on Epics come December. So yes, checked out this new film. It stars Finn Jones as Robert and Jessica McNamee as Maia, who this couple now moves to Maia's childhood home. And so this is a huge transition for Robert here. And the first thing you do is when you get to this big mansion, you want to like roam around and try to, see what's here and what's there and whatnot, and obviously make it home. And that takes him into the attic where he finds this old portrait that looks just like him, and it trips him out. And it would trip me out too, I can't even lie. And so he wants to know, what's the deal with this, And I will say, Maia is definitely a little bit gaslighting him a little bit on this, but with this, he wants to know more about the town, more about the home, more about this person in the photo, and everything is kind of converging around him that is completely eerie, creepy, and so on. So, I'll tell a little bit more about the what's happening in this as I get through this review a little bit. But I kind of want to start with on the top here with Finn as Robert, who the last time I seen Finn was in Iron Fist, so it's cool to kind of see him back on the screen in another project in a horror film, which I got to say that his performance in this is isn't his best work, I will say, but it is very it's interesting. You're obviously intrigued by this journey of this character, and I think that he does a good job in keeping you intrigued to the point of you kind of wondering what's happening, and he's really having a tough time here. So I think with the character work here, you're definitely invested because you want to know more about Robert and everything that's happening around him. And I thought that Finn kept me interested the entire time. But like I said, I don't think this was his best work, but it was solid. It definitely was solid. It was important for it to be solid, because without that, I really don't know how the film would have worked. Because ultimately, my feelings about the film is that it had a good idea, but it didn't execute well. By the end of the film, and the film was fairly short, about close to an hour and a half, and by the time you get to the end of it, you're just like, wait, that's it? So it introduced a good idea. It had some creepy elements around it, but nothing really landed. I wasn't really ever scared in this film. I was definitely more on the curious side of things, which makes this more of a little bit of a thriller and mystery, a little bit of a drama, if anything. But overall, I just feel just really bringing this all together really didn't land as high as I thought it would. But nonetheless, I still will say that I think it's intriguing and probably worth checking out. But nonetheless, going back into the film, a couple of interesting things I want to bring up here. I know what chitlins are, and I've never ever seen a movie have a chitlins appearance, and that was just completely funny to me. I just had to just throw that out there. But I will say that Robert, when he starts to have these sort of creepy dreams and visions, and these things are just all over the place, and this is really unsettling for him, which I also feel is unsettling for the viewers. And then when he sees the picture, and then Maia is really just kind of just nonchalant about it. You're just kind of like, oh, well, I see how this is going to kind of turn out. You know what I mean? And then there's an elderly figure in this. And anytime there's an elder who is, obviously aging, and they kind of really make that presence around them very eerie. This one, they completely executed to a T. Very creepy. I love how it looked, And I just got chills the moment we got the reveal of this elderly figure in it. I didn't see it happening the way it did, but when it did, I was like, okay. And that had a lot to do with the different visions that Robert was having while being in this home. Now, oh, and by the way, whenever you hear like an elderly crying, it's got to be the most eerie, chilling feel of anything in horror. And like, that was something that I was like, okay, this is going to be really scary. But that's my point. We got that very bright and early in this film, but then we really didn't get anything else that was even close to being as intense as that was, for me at least. But then, Robert's whole journey in this was one weird interaction to the next, warning after warning. And then, he has anxiety, he has stress. All these things are all coming together, and now he's having dreams. And then again, Maia is gaslighting him like, hey, you need to come off your meds, or I don't know. She's telling him to come off his meds when I feel like he should be on his meds. I could be wrong here, but I mean, she definitely wasn't in care of like everything that was happening with him. And it definitely was like listen, your guy's struggling here. This is a huge transition from him. He moved from the UK here, and now you're in your element because you're in your home, and clearly he's having a rough time. You're just kind of like, huh, whatever. And so, yeah. And like, not even addressing the fact that like, yeah, they literally do look alike. That should be of some concern to you. Like if there was a picture that looked like me and my friends were just kind of like, yeah, that looks like you, and nothing else of it, like that would be a little out of place for me. I would have suspicions, I feel like this is some type of running prank that may be going on here. And I will say it was a little bit laughable when you kind of see him posting and posing in sort of the mannerisms that are like the same as the picture, where you start thinking like, yeah, something's definitely bad going to happen soon. But anyway, with this, we did get some jump scares. We got a lot of bugs. I'll come back to that in 1 second. And creepy stuff, and chilling and unnerving sounds, hallucinations, out of body experiences, upside down crosses, and then the biblical references, which goes back to the bugs here. I mean, with all this, what could go wrong? You know what I mean? And I felt like this was really making for a film that was going to be really scary, and it really wasn't. It just really wasn't. And I think that this whole journey for Robert is just discovering who this guy is in a painting, the history of this town, and then his connection to all of this. And then for whatever reason, Maia's just there. and while this couple is trying to sort of adapt into this new home, but in this town that she's familiar with, in this home that she's familiar with, Robert is truly struggling. And that's just part of the film, is for the audience to connect with Robert's struggles, to kind of have that connection sort of be like the vehicle of all of the horror in this film. And that right there, I feel like you connect with it, but I just don't think at any time you were actually really scared. I think if anything, I was kind of like, well, I hope he get the answers he's looking for. You know what I mean? So like, I was like very much on the mystery and drama side of this, and then the horror side, I was kind of like, whatever, not too scary, not scared at all. And this, there's some imagery of things in this that's kind of, gory and whatnot, but really nothing over the top. Nothing that I would sit here and say like, oh, I was definitely scared, except for like the old woman that was crying earlier in the film. That was good. I enjoyed that. But I do think that, again, I thought that this wasn't Finn's best work, but it was solid. I thought that Jessica's performance as this gaslighting wife of his, I felt like she also was intriguing, because she was a little bit of a heart read as well too, because you really couldn't tell like what her involvement was with everything that was happening. Clearly she knows more than she's leading on, and it was just only a matter of time before that was revealed. So I did enjoy that sort of being an aspect to this as well too. I thought there were some other supporting characters that I thought was really good. Donna Briscoe's in this film in a short little role, and it is definitely another highlight of this film, her performance, and as they called this weird lady at the shop, who definitely sends more warning to Robert in terms of what's happening in his town. And I think there's a little bit of extra something I can add to that, but I'll just leave it at that. I'll let you all check out the film and kind of dissect the events of things that are happening. But I will say, Robert being the visitor, is he really the visitor, or like is this some type of, you know, joke that he had already always been here the entire time and he just happens to be, you know, going back down you know, memory lane with all this? Because again, he is having these visions, these out of body experiences, and now it's really a tote between the lines of reality and what's not. And that's, I thought, again, adds a little psychological factor to it, but not much. So there's a lot of different things going on in this film, and I definitely think you should check it out if it sounds intriguing to you. Again, The Visitor, on demand and digital, October 7th, and then you can check it out on Epix come December. Jump in the comments, folks. Let me know your thoughts about this when you check it out, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.